It's on.
All right.
Righteous.
Okay.
So what other myths are there?
Okay. Another myth that it's very interesting that comes every once in a while. It's about thyroid. Thyroid and cortisol, and especially for women. How will long-term ketosis affect your thyroid hormones?
Won't. Unless it's like you're not eating when it comes down to it. So chronic caloric deficit creates a problem with thyroid. Now, a lot of people will see a lower thyroid number from being in ketosis, but there's a lot of things to remember. One, a lower thyroid number may mean that your body's more efficient, so your thyroid doesn't have to work overtime to produce the excess food you're eating. And number two, your lab is being, your blood is being tested, or your thyroid is being tested against the average labs. The average people are overweight and eating at McDonald's, and they're not in ketosis. So your thyroid readings will not come out the same. I mean, it's practically impossible. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Definitely.
That's I would say it's like a founder. Normal people who do a ketogenic diet do it for weight loss. And then what happens is also ketogenic diet makes you eat less. You are less hungry. What will happen over time is probably you've been doing a caloric deficit for 8 months, 1 year, 6 months, 6 weeks. I don't know. It depends on the person. And then you have your thyroid checked. And then, yeah, probably there's a lower number on your hormones, not because of ketosis per se, but mostly because you're being in a caloric deficit for so long. So what you can do about it, maybe probably cycle calories. It's, I think, the safest way. But also, as Craig said, like really your thyroid, we really don't have much information right now, but it seems to point out that there's a different way your thyroid works under ketosis, and that's not different necessarily bad, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Peter from hyperlipid.com has a very good post about this. He explains it in very great detail, getting in all the biochemistry into it. So I'll pop up the link later on so people can read it if they are interested. It's a very dense subject, but I think the common line would be not to get too worried about it.
Yeah, and just don't like beat yourself up with calorie deficits for a long time, because not eating enough food will downregulate thyroid production. But also, I mean, there's no scientific literature. If you start delving into this deeply, like I have, because people, I don't know, a lot of people are worried about this. If you delve into it deeply, there's no prerequisite for carbohydrates for the production of thyroid hormone. There's nothing, carbs to make thyroid work. But what is required, and if you're doing like a very well formulated, what I would call optimized ketogenic diet, and you're including a lot of fish, a lot of fresh seafood,
DHA.
Iodine. You need DHA in your body, and your thyroid needs iodine. So if you increase your iodine intake dietarily, you eat some kelp, or greatly increase your the proportion of foods that you're eating that come from the ocean, marine-based foods. For this reason, I'm not really big into the whole Jimmy Moore bacon and eggs thing, or the whole Jimmy Moore thing in general. But the bacon and eggs thing, it's like, yeah, these are decent foods, but they're not going to be optimizing your nutrient density. I mean, there's much better sources of lipids like DHA, as well as things like iodine, which is required for thyroid. So eat more seafood and watch your thyroid perform better.
That's why the Japanese have a very good health outcome, probably because they eat a lot of seaweed and they eat a lot of fish compared to the other parts of the world, of course, right?
Yeah. Well, and that too, it comes down to just not being in a chronic deficit. Because and that's the thing too, like you said, with weight loss and keto makes your hunger go down and all that stuff. And everyone's really happy about that at first. Like, oh, I'm not hungry all day. I'm like, okay, but that's what you need to be careful about, is because you need to eat. All right, so like classic example here. Well, okay, so I have two examples. When I was bodybuilding, I had a thyroid problem, right? So I was eating anywhere between 1,500 calories on a diet phase all the way up to 6,200 calories on a bulk phase, yet I had a massive thyroid problem, and it was way low on their numbers, and I was eating a lot, or I wasn't eating a lot, one of the two. When I was trying to fix it, I just knew that the nutritionist I was working with had no idea what he was talking about, and so I had to fix it on my own. I saw keto as an option to do it through Mark's Daily Apple. It was like, oh, going this way might be a really good idea, the Primal Blueprint. And so switching to that, I was watching my thyroid numbers the whole time. And my thyroid, once I switched to keto for about 8 weeks, it stabilized. And then it dropped a little bit and then stayed there. It didn't move anywhere else, and it just stayed. And so I'm thinking, my doctor's still, oh, you're low, you need T3, you need T3. I got off the T3, and I was like, man, I'm feeling great all the time. Something's got to be off here because my thyroid cannot be. My body fat was in check, muscle was good, performance was good, brain function was good. My thyroid wasn't a problem. My doctor just didn't know what to look for. And so once I just got off the T3, I actually felt better. And then stayed off of it, I realized I didn't have a thyroid problem. So that's kind of my experience off of that. Second one is, Trent Clements, my used to be 430-pound client, he was chronically under eating all the time. Like he would eat 2,000, maybe 2,500 calories at 430 pounds, and he's an Icelandic dude, right? And so I had him start eating at 4,000 calories, and that's when he started dropping weight. And it blows people's mind because they're like, well, why are you eating so much?
Calories in, calories out.
Yeah, exactly. So depending on activity level, depending on genetics, you have to find what is either maintenance or above or below. You got to find it. And you got to be at maintenance or above because keto is not fucking meant for weight loss. It drives me nuts. It's not. It's meant for optimal body composition.
Exactly.
It's to set your height and weight at a certain weight and just modify your muscle and body fat to sit well. So you can just perform optimally every day. So you're not too lean and you're not too fat. You just are. Does it make sense? That's what I found myself in keto.
Yeah, no, that's a great way of putting it. You know what? And I know you've said this before, Craig, and anybody who's got some common sense that deals with people who are trying to lose weight knows that you want to lose fat. You don't want to lose weight. You don't want to lose 20 pounds of muscle. You want to lose body fat.
And that is why some approaches to the ketogenic diet don't work long-term or medium-term. The classic, eat fat to lose fat. Yeah, it will work for a while, but at the expense of what? If you do reduce your protein just because you want to chase an optimal ketone reading, what will happen over time? Probably you will lose maybe, 2-3 pounds in a month or even a little more. But over time, maybe you will stall, you will start losing muscle. And then that's when you lower your metabolism and then you will stall. On the other hand, if you pursue a healthy body recomposition, what happens? Probably you stay around the same weight, you lose some body fat. But like I was telling you, Tristan, before you joined Craig, I've been around 165, 162 pounds for years. I've maintained about the same weight, yet I look totally different. And lots of people who are on the Ketogains group also find out that maybe they are the ones that are very overweight. They drop a lot of fat and weight, but over time their weight stabilizes. And what happens is they start gaining muscle, and they stay about the same weight, but they look vastly different. That's the magic of body recomposition, and that's what a ketogenic diet makes you.
Yes. And that's the thing too, is so what Tristan and Lewis and I have done, and what I want to say to everybody is if you're not comfortable figuring what the hell that is, then you need to hire one of us or somebody else is doing it, because I've hired dozens of coaches to help myself. That's the only way we get better besides researching and coaching. And so being a coach, doing your research and coaching is the circle of life in our situation. So the fact that we're doing it, you're just getting plugged into a circle that's working. And so you can just get guidance immediately versus, oh my gosh, this is a lot to do. Because if you have a full-time job, it's freaking another full-time job.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah,
I've had people get so mad at me. There's this guy in the YouTube comments of one of my videos.
Your friend.
And he got so mad at me because I didn't have a cookie cutter formula where I could tell him exactly what your macros should be. And it's like, dude, there's so many macro calculators online. Yeah, for some people they'll work for a swath of the population, but you don't know your resting metabolic rate. I could be 160 pounds. You could be 160 pounds, 5'9", or 5, when I'm 5'8", actually. I've been lying to myself my whole life. I looked at it and it's actually 5'8". So yeah, you could be 5'8", 160 like me, and we could have completely different resting metabolic rates. There's no way to get that from a calculator You got to do trial and error. Yes, there's ways you can figure it out by yourself, and I totally encourage people to explore and learn as much as they can. And a good coach in the coaching process is going to make themselves obsolete in your life by giving you all the tools that you need anyways. And if you want to take it to the next level and continue coaching with them, and they've got the tools to help you develop your skill set further and expand it, then you're going to stick with them. But, I mean, good coaching comes down to teaching the trainee, the Padawan, as Luis, who actually likes Star Wars. Dudes, can I make everyone hate me right now?
Yeah.
I watched the original trilogy of Star Wars and thought it sucked. I rewatched recently. I loved it growing up. The only good one is Empire Strikes Back. I'm so sorry, everybody.
No, yeah, it's the best one.
There's one good Star Wars movie. I'm sorry.
That's the best one. And also the new one, I don't, also got haters gonna hate, but I love the new one. I've seen it already 4 times already. Yeah.
I like the new one and Empire Strikes Back are the 2 that I think are good films.
Probably,
I think
yeah.
Return of the Jedi is a big steaming pile of crap. I mean, that movie is horrible. Return of the Jedi is awful.
You're missing the message, bro.
Yeah.
What's the message? That the Emperor has lightning fingers? The Emperor has lightning fingers.
No, that's not the message.
Power. And Darth Vader picks him up and throws him down a pit when 20 minutes before Luke Skywalker was levitating mother flippers all the way around
the message. There are 2 messages in that movie. One is about redemption, right? And the second is that you don't mess up with the Ewoks.
The Ewoks are like this all-powerful entity in that movie. The Ewoks are so lame.
I want to know why there's not an uproar about J.J. Abrams doing Star Wars and Star Trek. You ever think about that?
Yeah, I thought it.
Yeah, those freaking clans butt heads, man. Like if there was a world war and there's Star Trek and Star Wars, they'll be evenly matched. And so, J.J. Abrams be in the middle, be like, yes, this is what I wanted. Let me film it.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everybody. You can edit that out if you want, Luis.
It's fine.
I just lost half of my audience. They're going to unsubscribe to me and forever hate me.
Okay. Here's another myth that always pop up. What about magic beverage? Coffee.
Bulletproof coffee? Bullshit.
No, not really bulletproof coffee. That's another thing we can talk about later. But actual coffee. How does coffee affect ketosis? Will it kick you out?
You'll never get ketosis with coffee.
You can't drink that.
Yeah, you're out of ketosis like right now, just smelling it.
That's like a universal paradox that you just, wow. The coffee, I guess for some people, if you're really messed up, your hormones are super out of whack and your cortisol is real messed up and you're dependent on coffee all the time, it's not going to be optimal, but you can still be in ketosis with coffee.
But I probably, even the person you mentioned, one caveat was about coffee and being kicked out of ketosis because of coffee. I've also had people like stopped following me, like I didn't know they were following me in the first place, but okay, because I said coffee was good. Like I've been drinking coffee since college.
Yeah.
So probably haven't been really in ketosis for 15 years because coffee kicks me out.
You drink coffee.
Well, yeah, I mean, okay, so when it comes down to coffee, you're dependent, like Tristan said, then you got a problem. But that's the caffeine addiction we're talking about. Like, me personally, I like to go through a bag of caffeinated and then switch to a bag of decaf. And I get the same effect from both, actually. So, like, I really don't feel the caffeine from the coffee unless it's just, like, the first week back. But other than that, like, it's not enough to really do damage. But, you get people who are drinking. Like, I had one of my fighters tell me out of nowhere, I've been drinking, like, 30 ounces of coffee a day. I'm like, what the hell are you doing that for? You need to drop that down to like 12 or less, man. You know what I mean? So that's a problem. If he's decaf, probably not. But at the same time, let's just dial it down, give your adrenals a break, and let them recharge a little bit.
That's probably maybe only a thing to take care of or watch if you are someone who's very sensitive to glucose, probably, right? If you have diabetes, type 1 and type 2, and are very unhealthy. But for the normal persons who are just doing ketosis for weight loss, I don't think it's like something to really worry much about.
Yeah, no, in some cases, there would be anecdotes of people, okay, well, I stopped drinking coffee and then I started losing weight again. But I mean,
I would like to look at what type of coffee they were drinking.
yeah.
I had one client who was like, I'm not losing weight. Well, what are you drinking? What are you eating? I took a look at her, my fitness pal, and then I saw like 50 or 60 grams of carbs a day. And then I looked at the coffee, and she was having coffee with sugar. Because I said, yeah, you can have coffee however you want, but like she liked the coffee with sugar. I don't know what.
No, I mean that's a lot of people believe that because there's certain people who say that you can't drink coffee on keto, and the reason that this individual says that is because she's coming at it from a viewpoint of like her view of what the optimal healthy diet would be, and a lot of people take offense at that. I like her. I think she does a lot of good. I mean, I don't have a problem. So I think coffee's fine. If you drink coffee, you're not going to die.
Well, if you look at the
Next question.
if you look at the studies on good coffee, like it's really, really, really good for you. I've come from a state where it's LDS, Latter-day Saints, Mormons, whatever everyone else calls them. Like it is just no coffee down here at the point because caffeine and stuff. I don't know why exactly, but it's so overshadowed that I didn't even look at coffee until I was like 23 years old. And so at that point, I was like looking at it. I always thought it was bad for you because I really didn't think out even to look at it. I didn't even like the smell of it. But then when I started looking into it on how good it was for you, I was like, holy shit, what am I doing? I'm missing this in my life. And when I switched over to it, I saw a lot of health markers go up for myself, performance included. So yeah.
Perfect.
Like the dose makes a toxin, and if you're dependent on it, you're addicted to it, it could be an issue. But as far as ketosis and coffee, there's not really a problem. It's just
Yeah. Okay. Now let's get into the forbidden zone, or maybe let's say the thing that it's on fashion right now, which would be exogenous ketones. We have Ketogenic here. We have Ketogains here. MCT oil. Blah blah blah. What's your take on those guys?
I think exogenous ketones are a pretty powerful tool. I mean, they've got their place. As far as context, the backlash probably comes from obnoxiously marketed MLM style products, which like there's nothing wrong.
He died.
Oh, he did freeze. Was that a fake freeze?
It's if you have certain representatives. No, I'm waiting to come back.
There we go. There you are.
Am I back?
Yeah.
All right. I'll just start over.
Yeah, start over.
I think what the backlash that you probably are referring to comes from is there have been some people from certain MLM companies who've had obnoxious, like really low level marketing tactics, like in your group on Facebook, Luis, and stuff like that. And they'll private message me like, have you heard of this new way to get in ketosis in 24 hours? I'm in keto now. And they'll send a picture of a pee strip, them pissing out the ketones. So they'll show you the pee strip, which means nothing. That's why we're laughing, because the only way to know if you're in ketosis, the only way to know if you're in ketosis is blood ketones. The pee strips, there's the breath thing, but I don't think it's as accurate as people say. But yeah, blood ketones is like, that's how you know. So there's nothing wrong with the products. I think even the MLM product, like Prove It or whatever, and there's Ketogenics, there's a few of these other ones. They are useful, pretty good products. I think the price is a limiting factor for a lot of people.
Yeah.
The price per dose is kind of high for some of them, but I'll just say context where I think they'd be good, and then I'll let everyone else say their, because you guys probably had just as much experience with this as I. I enjoy it. I've taken Ketogenic, very good. As far as when you're already in deep ketosis and very adapted to keto, probably not as useful to you as it would be to somebody who's just transitioning and might be going through that keto flu, feeling a little crappy. If you're already keto adapted, it might be useful as like a pre-workout. So if you already had a few meals, your blood ketones might be a little lower. If you had some more protein in the meal before, the insulin might have risen. You might have a little bit less blood ketones going. Throw some of that in before a workout with some MCT powder or oil. You'll be good to go. Or if you just want to keep boosting your ketones, you like how you feel from it, then yeah, it's useful. If you're transitioning in, could also be useful to kind of possibly offset some keto flu symptoms and kind of get your body used to pumping through those ketones and utilizing them as a fuel. So yeah, useful. not to be bashed, but you know, they're not going to magically make you like lose weight.
And you, Craig?
Yeah, so on the weight loss side, I can't stand it. You guys know this, and I think a lot of people who watch my videos know this. So like, the reason it helps people lose weight is because it debilitates their appetite, and so they don't eat, and then they have a dinner, and it's high fat. You know what I mean? So a lot of the okay, so Forever Green, I'm gonna drop that name right now. They drive me the most nuts with how they're manufacturing and marketing ketones. So they have this 10-day reset kit. Fuck that shit. Anyway, so you drink your ketones, you drink some of their 24 karat gold chocolate with some caffeine in it, and then you have this cute little Quest bar, and then you eat a high fat dinner with some meat. And then you do that for 10 days, and you'll know when you're there because your ketone sticks will turn color. And so at that point, like
your pea sticks?
Yeah, your pea sticks turn color. So you drank some ketones and you didn't use them, so congratulations, you're not in ketosis.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to that, they're ruining people on the true effects of ketosis. And like, I'm not a purist, right? I'm not like you need to be 100% nutritional. Like, if you want to use supplementation to optimize, do it. Because I'm on that end of the spectrum as I'm looking to optimize the 1%. And so for me, myself personally, using it as a pre-workout and then mixing it with some glucose and whatnot intra-workout, my workouts are noticeably more intense, like much more focused, because I choose to use ketones as a neurotropic, not as a muscle builder or weight loss thing, anything like that, just to get my brain revved up like crazy. Because if you are keto adapted, you knock those down, bam, you can feel that right in your head. And that's what Dominic D'Agostino was talking about, how he'll do his serving to get his level up between like 0.7 up to like 1.7 or a 2 right first thing in the morning, and then he'd go all day and just do his thing. And so at that point, I started utilizing it that way, and I was like, damn, yeah, this is the way to do it. And then like for my fighters, I'll have them drink it right before they roll so their cognition is on point. I'll have them take it in the morning so they can kick ass right away. But for my like weight loss clients, I'll just use it, or fat loss clients, I'll use it as a transition like you were talking about, Tristan, so they don't get the keto flu symptoms, and I can give them a pack of ketones, be like, this is what ketosis is going to feel like. And so they get a taste, they get addicted, they don't have to wait for that 10-day, 14-day buffer, and they don't have to go through that little transition, which is great because I see 100% success now getting into ketosis versus before is like maybe 70%.
Okay, that's an awesome tool, and as you said, that's applied in a very good way, like planned. The thing is, I'm not affiliated with any of these brands. I am currently experimenting with Ketogains because, as you said, I'm using it as a pre-workout. I've used MCT oil for years, way before it was marketed as such. I've been using coconut oil like at least for 7 years as a pre-workout. And the thing is, and this is the truth, being in ketosis does not guarantee fat loss. And as some people are thinking, using exogenous ketones won't guarantee fat loss. You still have to be in a caloric deficit. As Craig says, yes, probably for people who are starting the diet and are having a hard time acclimating to a ketogenic diet, probably will help a lot. You know, maybe cravings, energy levels, etc. But by themselves, and as they are being advertised, they don't warrant you fat loss. You still have to undereat or drop your body fat, right? But yeah, as a sports aid, I have been experimenting with Ketogains for about 2 weeks now. I can seriously say that I'm falling in love with the product. I haven't started the Keto 8 now because I want to finish the Ketogains first, and it's a more powerful supplement. But I suspect Keto 8 is going to be very much like any MCT oil. It's supposedly a better high-quality product from what I've seen and researched. But yeah, even if you are just on your fat loss journey right now, you can experiment maybe with 1 tablespoon coconut oil or MCT oil before workout, and probably you'll get a little bit more boost on your workout, right?
Yep. Absolutely. It replaces glucose, like we talked about.
Yeah.
MCT directly replaces glucose. So another reason.
I've got something that came to mind. I mean, you mentioned using the ketones as a nootropic, and I think that's probably one of the most valuable things that people can use exogenous ketones for would be for like people who've got traumatic brain injury or a lot of inflammation. It could probably help. And it could be like when I talked to Dr. Dominic D'Agostino the other day, he was mentioning the possible use of it as like a first response thing for people who've had a TBI. And in that type of situation, injecting a ketone ester directly to the bloodstream, I mean, this could be kind of a game changer. So, I mean, for people who have got cognition issues and stuff like that, it's going to be better as a pure fat loss tool.
Oh, yeah. I must say something. I've experimented with this thing, like working and writing some papers at night, like, you know, I don't know. Normally I sleep at about 12, up to 1 a.m. The other day I had like one scoop of this and was up till 3, 4 a.m. while writing, and I didn't even notice. It's like, yeah, it's a funny thing.
Do you take a whole dose of it? Because when I first tried it, I only took half a dose, and it was like...
I'm taking the whole scoop and with coffee, you know?
That's a lot. I actually, after 2 days, I did like, I fasted for like 48 hours. I don't normally do that or recommend that people, you know, fast. Not everybody. It has its therapeutic uses and there's a lot of benefits, but just as a predicate, like don't go out and just to stop eating food because you think it's going to be good. You got to know what you're doing. You got to have a good reason to do it. I had fasted for 48 hours. I had one meal, and then it was a smallish meal, and then I took a full dose of it. And I think my ketones pushed so high, and I didn't test my blood ketones, but I'm pretty sure they pushed so high that I got like an insulin release. I got really tired.
Oh, I got to tell you what happened to me on the Ketogains meetup that we had 15 days ago. There was a David Clausen, the rep from Ketogains, got us some free samples. And I was fasting. I had the Ketogains fasted with a little bit of Johanbine. I was sweating cold. I was like so overpowered. Like everybody saw me and said I was like white. I didn't know what happened, but you know, it's like so much surge of, it was hot and cold at the same time. It's not something I suggest.
Yeah, it's like you almost got a flu, right?
Yeah, horrible.
Yeah, so what that is, I think, so what they're going to find out when they start running studies is that ketones attached with anything else rapidly speed up the metabolism of it. So yohimbine and caffeine, it's like probably 2 to 3 times as potent. So like 100 milligrams is 300 milligrams.
Probably. Imagine I was supposed to be giving a speech. We were in a room that was with air conditioning. Everybody was freezing, and I was like sweating and you know, with how do you say, sweating cold, but also very hot at the same time. It was like very weird.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's a largely the yohimbine combination with ketones. Because when I was making my neurotropic, I could do the full dose and I would get a super good hit. But once I added ketones, it was a little bit too much. And so it was interesting seeing that way. So on your TBI that you're talking about, your traumatic brain injury, so I'm from the Marine Corps and I work with concussed athletes. So I'm starting to work with a guy named Hayden Thompson who runs a clinic out of here, which they take concussed athletes, like Tom Brady is one of the guys they work with, right? So they'll bring him in and they fast him for 24 hours immediately. And so what I thought is like, hey, man, why don't we give these guys ketones first thing when they get in, and boom, that'll give that no appetite, because they don't really feel hungry anyway because they're pretty sick because they got crushed pretty hard, you know? And so they don't want to eat anyway. So giving them ketones to help their mental stable come back on and create blood flow to the brain, maybe with some CBD. You guys know what that is? Cannabidiol out of freaking, pull it out of weed, right? So add those two in there and then bam, hand it to them. Massive blood flow to the brain. Because what these guys are doing, they're doing fMRI, so they can actually see where excitatory nervous system and what's happening inside the brain at different like stimulus is. And so what they're seeing is when they fast, the whole brain kind of just chills out. And so what we want to do is just let it chill out with more blood flow, because what getting hit does is it stops blood flow to the brain because it's so inflamed, right? And so
I killed the mosquito.
I was like, number one.
I had my blood, number one. Craig's number one. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I'm seeing. So I'll have a lot more stuff coming up on traumatic brain injury and ketones. So that's really exciting.
That's awesome.
That's so cool that you're combining it with cannabidiol, because CBD has huge implications for lowering inflammation, and it's it's a cannabis-derived substance, and as everybody knows, cannabis is highly illegal in most places, very demonized worldwide, but actually has some incredible medicinal compounds, and some of them are non-psychoactive, like CBD. It doesn't affect your brain. It does not get you high, but it will reduce inflammation. It has a lot of applications against like cancers and stuff like that. And what came to mind too is when you look at some of the research on, I mean, even just like pure, like people using cannabis to treat cancers, it seems like the cannabinoids have a glycolytic pathway inhibiting property that also greatly increases the burning of fats and might even deepen ketosis. They're fat soluble. And when you look at some of the research, and it's very limited because it's illegal in most places. You have places like Colorado, California, where people can use medicinal.
Well, CBD is not illegal. CBD.
And yeah, CBD is legal. Yeah. You can get CBD in any state of the United States. So that would be so interesting to mix those two, like, you know, have some fat soluble ketones or something with a CBD oil, because it's a fat soluble substance. And man, that could be really cool. I mean, I'm thinking like some chocolates with cannabidiol and ketones in them, and some MCT powder. Man, that could be a good, like, you know, recovery pre-workout for an athlete. You know, decrease inflammation already would be good.
That'd be crazy. Great idea.
Yeah.
Trademark.
Great.
Yeah, for real.
Trademark.
Dope. So I got to roll. It's 3. So you guys want to call it good? I think we've been on like an hour, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one to end on. We cleaned that out pretty heavy. Perfect. So let's let people eat this episode up and then ask more questions about myths, because there's a lot that are out there that we really couldn't get to because they didn't get them out. They just started talking about most.
It's perfect. I think we have more than enough material for now. And maybe probably we can do a follow-up to this one maybe next week or whenever you guys are ready.
Let's do a sign-off where like we say goodbye. You know, you can cut out that part and just.
Yeah, I can edit that.
Do it, moderator. Get it.
Yeah.
Professional podcast guy should have done podcasts.
Okay.
I just like when I watch that, when I'm filming it now, I'm always thinking, okay, what do I have to edit out? And I try to mark it in my mind, and it's like, how do I save time editing?
That makes total sense.
That's why it's like sometimes when something happens, I'll restart, and I'll just like, so when I have a guest on, and I'll just like, I'll say some stupid shit, then I'll just like, I won't even say anything else. I'll go back and I'll be like, and I'll say it all again. And then, then they'll realize, okay, he just wants to edit out when he said that stupid shit.
Sure. It's like everything that we can edit. So, okay. Well, here it goes. So,
sign it off.
Yeah. So, okay, guys. Thanks a lot for being here for this, the first Ketogains official podcast. We will get back to you later on. So, Tristan, Craig, thanks a lot again. See you guys. Flex for the camera. Flex.
Where can we find more stuff?
Flex.
Wow.
You gotta hit it, bro.
Oh, we gotta hit the
no guns in the show. There you go. All right, that's what I'm talking about.
So where can we find this podcast?
This will be posted on Ketogains.com and on the Ketogains YouTube channel, and probably as well on the pages of Tristan and Craig.